Um, what in particular do you want to share about what you see as a midlife crisis that you think you can, impart some wisdom onto others that may be going through something similar, or even if it's not 100%, something that looks recognizable in your story? Is there one or two, bits that you can say, these are the lessons I learned, and these are things that you can take with you in your journey through this similar experience?
Yeah, totally. So glad you're asking. So I'm going to let a little bit of a secret because I'm going to draw it from there and the terminology from there. But I'm in the middle of writing a book called Activated. And it's the reason I'm bringing it up is because I want to borrow from the infrastructure and some of the language that's there, because I think that there is a lot to be said. The term midlife crisis is a big one, and it's a hard one for people to embrace. So I'm going to broaden this idea and say, let's say you're not in a midlife crisis, right? Let's say you're just wondering, is this really what I want? And or not feeling particularly happy. So there's two things that I really would challenge a person with. The first one is the courage to point to something and know that giving it a name isn't dangerous. Giving it a name is empowering. If you're hurting, but you don't admit that you're hurting, right? Or you're confused or feeling like I really need to ask a question right now and ask, is this okay? Is this right? Did we make the right decision? It's scary to journey there, but it's just a word. And if you're strong enough to be able to look at it and say, this is what it is, then there's what to work with. Otherwise, there's infinite potential on what it might be. And then you're just wallowing and hoping for the answer to come. And there's more inside of you than you can imagine. And sometimes in your environment, your support systems that you might not even realize that you have. And there's also other people around you that have often gone through it. And so the idea of like being able to name it and point it and say, this is it, is going to be helpful. Being activated, right, or thriving, as we have in our terminology in our company, is the idea of being able to be your most activated, powerful superhero, maximized, optimized superhero. I use that word, rockstar self, right? Being able to say like, I'm the guy that I want to be, and I have all of the gifts and strengths that I know that are inside. I can call upon them. I can access them. It doesn't mean that everything's gonna be easy. It doesn't mean like everything is solved. But when you have something that's holding you back from that guy, it's okay. Point to it. It doesn't mean you're weaker. It's just the opposite. It's saying like, there's a guy on the other side of me. And I'm gonna say it one more time. The energy of it, most activated, optimized, maximized, superhero, rockstar self. That guy, that's the guy that you want to be able to call on whenever you have a hard day, or when you have a good day, and you want to like get out there and make it that big sales pitch, or you want to go and you want to like sweep your wife off her feet, or your kid's going through a hard day, and you're gonna get up and you're gonna make sure that like that after tomorrow they're gonna be feeling different, and they're gonna be feeling empowered. So you need yourself, and like sometimes it's the food, sometimes it's the weight, sometimes it's the stress that just cuts it off, and you have to be able to look at it and say that's it, and I'm gonna find a way to sidestep it. I'm gonna find support. So that's number one. The other thing that is critical. And it's kind of fun actually to do this. I call it the lever. A lever, right, is something that you can pull that literally gives you leverage, that allows other things to move as a result. And the lever that you should be pulling, if you want to pull one, isn't always the lever that you're actually pulling. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm tired all the time, and I need more sleep, and I need to eat better, and I'm too heavy, and I'm not getting work done, and I'm not being a good dad. So which one is the one that, what's the one thing that you could point to out of this list? Not the one that's the cause. Sometimes it's the cause, but if you could move one thing and start to shift it so that everything on that list will start to change, what's that one thing? Sometimes the change is a lot smaller than you think it is. So what that might be, and this is one that a lot of the gurus, talk about in wellness, you'd be surprised, is sleep. For a lot of people, they're exhausted, and they're either not going to sleep at a consistent time, not getting enough hours. And with all the different things on the list, that might be the thing that to change. It might be as simple as having a bedtime routine, and a bedtime. It might be changing one food that you're having. I was on a podcast recently with a good friend who told me that when he was younger, he was like pudgy, and it was affecting a lot of things in his life actually. And the doctor said you need to take out corn. And he's like, oh, okay, I can take out corn. And then he started looking at the ingredients. It's in everything. It's in the sodas and this and that. And he said that he felt so much better after he pulled it out. For me, the ingredient that I'm pointing to these days is sugar. If you look at the research, it's terrifying. I don't want to use the word poison, but a little bit of the word poison. It affects so much of our life and our health. And it's like, what if I told you that one thing will help you with your kids, help you with your wife's relationship, help you with your health and your weight, help you at work, right? And you knew that one lever can do it. So everything, like you can be thriving. That guy that needs to emerge, right? Or that guy that you don't know how to access anymore, and you just get lucky, or maybe if you have 5 cups of coffee today, or like your Celsius, plus your Starbucks nitro, like, oh, I got an hour of like this guy's here and he can make the sales pitch. Like that's ridiculous, right? Like that's dangerous. And so instead, like finding that lever is the way to get to the activated self. And by the way, after pulling that lever, it could be that a month or two later there's a new lever to push. But if you understand that science, if you understand first, call it, know what it is, right? And then number two is to find a lever that's going to affect it. So if you could do both of those, you're going to change a lot in your life, and then you have that gift to do it again, right? I will. You only. I told you to. I'm going to give you one more that I really like, and this is I'm going to call. This is the long-term play for you, and it's called. It's really from Atomic Habits. It's the idea of stacking. Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks about the notion that the small habits have the biggest change in life. Have you read it before?
I have, yes.
So, if I may, I like my favorite part of the book is actually right at the beginning, when he talks about the England, the British cycling team, and he talks about how bad they were. I think it was over 100 years of like never winning anything, not a single medal. Can you imagine? And it got to the point that like biking companies wouldn't sell them their bikes because it would make them look bad. So what do? They get a new coach who had this like brilliant philosophy of changing 1%, and he changed 1% of everything. Changed their pillows, changed their mattresses, I think their shorts to make sure that their muscles were stronger, their bikes, tiny little like small changes, and all of a sudden within like a year they started winning gold medals, and for the next 7 years they won gold medals, Tour de France, like all these crazy things from 1% changes. And the idea is that if you can make a small change but make it a habit, that's transformational. So what's stacking? Stacking is a tool from there that I really like, and this is like key if you want to change. And you're having a hard time making it. I remember for myself that fog was a killer. My brain was so foggy. Every other week I'd have something else I'm changing, and it became a problem. So stacking is a really cool tool that you could use, because there's going to be something in your life that you do every day. It might be something that's like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, changing your clothes. I don't know what it is, breakfast. But everyone has something that they're doing every day. If at the very least you're eating, right? So stacking it gives 80% efficacy on a change. And what it is choose one habit, a tiny habit. It could be reading for 5 minutes, right? It could be writing a to-do list in the morning. One habit, like it could be, eating protein. If you do that attached to something else that you do, there's 80% more efficacy that it'll work, right? So that means you want to make a change in your life, and you want to do 10 squats a day and make it really effect. All you have to do is attach it to something else. I brush my teeth and then I do my squats. I eat breakfast and then I do my squats, whatever it is, and all of a sudden that thing becomes built into your day. So those are 3 of the big keys that I'm into.